Do you get to have better sex when you are using drugs, or do you get to have different types of sex?
And they're saying I get nervous taking my clothes off with a stranger sometimes. But it's easier on chems because I feel really sexy on chems.
They're not taught to accept naturally the way that they do have sex, so they use things like chemicals to be able to facilitate having the sex that they want.
So it's about dropping the judgment and recognizing that it's while we can support people in recovery, if we're not addressing the other stuff, if we can't dismantle homophobia and the hetero-capitalist patriarchy, then people are going to start using again. It's really difficult, especially in the world we live in right now, for people to be able to manage abstinence.
And looking at that, I realize we don't have narratives in which queer people can coexist with sex and drugs. It's either you use and you die, you're born again, but there is no third option. So instituting more harm reduction programs, instituting more destigmatized educational programs and outreach programs, this allows us to be able to create third options for ourselves and say, I can coexist with what I'm doing and how I'm living and the way I'm feeling.
So we conducted a party and play study in Toronto and did 44 interviews with guys who are party and play involved. Just to get their interest in health and social services, get some of their feedback about the optimal care and the kind of barriers that they face. While there's a lot of positive feedback, and some of you probably know, there's a lot of positive feedback about ASOs, AIDS service organizations, the great programs that they do. AIDS Committee of Toronto was mentioned quite a lot about that. There were issues with regards to how people wanted to have those services at a place which would incorporate both the services of AIDS service organization, a hospital, a community health center.
Often when people stop crystal, they stop having sex. Like, that's not a surprise to anyone. And then stopping having sex is okay for a month, is sometimes okay for 2 months, and then it's a beautiful like summer day, and then guys are wearing shorter shorts and tank top, and then the dopamine kicks in, and you're like, and they're like, and then you're having a good day, and you're thinking, maybe I can just do this one time. I've been in recovery for like 6 months. It's been going well. Maybe I could just try it one more time, and it will be okay this time. And sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's not. But a lot of guys have no place to talk about these things. That's what we try to create. We wanted to create a safe space to talk about sex. And when I mean talking about sex, I talk about the taboo around gay sex, the body image issues. Like I think every gay man comes with body image issue, regardless of what they're looking like. Masturbation, how porn is a part of their life or their sex life right now or not. What triggers them. What about love, and all that? What about intimacy, like that feeling that you're very intimate with someone when you're on crystal meth, and then when you're not high, you realize that you want nothing to do with this person anymore. But then that feeling of intimacy is very strong, and it's hard to attain sometimes in a big city like Toronto.
Like, I wish I didn't have so much anxiety, because a number of people weren't super high risk, frankly. But that anxiety was something to build off of, right? It was part of the motivation to then go into some kind of either treatment program or prevention program. So when we talk about HIV prevention program, that could be anything from gay men's leadership, skill building, to a social group. If you think about health in a broader sense, any kind of group or community involvement can mitigate a larger kind of vulnerability. And so if you think about it in that way, and it's not HIV, STI specific, a lot of those things can fall under prevention. And so From the testing setting, I found that linking people to programs and services that way was very helpful.
The right place for chemsex support is where gay sex is understood and addressed. And this is why we were the hardest work of the last 10 years for me was shifting chemsex support out of the heroin services and into places where we talk about gay sex, where there is community engagement and medical engagement to address the HIV epidemic, but where we can talk about gay sex.